Hello again, beautiful beings. I am here. I'm live. We're happening. We're doing it. Um, so bizarre. I was literally just talking in the comments about how it feels like life is like I'm like getting out of the chaos, and then a bunch of you pointed out that this video was actually scheduled for 11:11 today, when I know for a fact this morning I scheduled it for 2:55. I have no idea how that got messed up. But technology has been bizarre, Mandela effects, glitches in the matrix. It has been really weird. It's been really weird. And I thought things got better, but today has proven to me that that is not the case. And of course, I would say like someone is messing with this video, but if it accidentally got scheduled for 11:11, that's pretty damn divine. And I know that the right people will be able to find this. This is going to be a really intense video, so I'm going to actually just start off with a little bit of a trigger warning and say, if you are not in the place today to handle some darkness, then I'd say probably watch this on a different day. This is definitely not a suitable video for the whole family. I would say, you know, maybe teenagers and above, but definitely not for kids. It's just, you want to be honest, but you also don't want to like expose them to a bunch of stuff at a young age. So I just kind of put that out there, a little disclaimer. Yeah, we're talking about clones. We're talking about blood sacrifice. We're talking about the Illuminati. We're talking about the powers that were. They are slowly but surely getting removed, transmuting, transitioning, getting kicked off the planet, and they're happening. Things are moving, and that's very clear. Not to mention, I see evidence of the New Earth frequency all the time. And if you guys want more really awesome kind of conspiracy type videos like this, but if you also want some really epic reposts, especially in my stories about the New Earth, some good news, then check out my Instagram. Personally, that is probably where I'm most active. And I do post some personal stuff on Instagram, but mostly it's just stuff that I personally find fascinating. So I know that some of you are on Instagram and you don't actually follow me. So I'd say go over there, check it out, give me a follow, and I'm sure you're going to really enjoy binge watching all of my reels. They're mostly just reposts, once again, of things that I really enjoy and find insightful and like to question, and also things that I find inspiring and hopeful as well. And there's a lot of really awesome, inspiring things happening in the world. So there's some good stuff going on out there. So I really didn't want to believe that the death of Chandler was a conspiracy. I really just didn't want to believe it. And my initial thought when this was presented to me, like it was actually a friend of mine, Hayden and Victoria, friends, who reached out and were like, "Oh my God, what do you think?" And I'm like, I don't know, like why? My initial thought was, he's not exposing anything, you know? His claim to fame is really just in the past. Like, basically, my initial thought was he's not relevant, and it's not like he's yelling on a rooftop and exposing shit. So I thought, why? Why would they choose Matthew Perry as a victim, really? Then I went down the rabbit hole and gained access to some insights, and I can absolutely say that, unfortunately, that was a ritual sacrifice. And I am very sure about that. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down all of the facts of this case, and then we're going to just talk briefly, well, not even briefly, we're going to talk extensively about how individuals joined the Illuminati, how sacrifices and rituals happen and take place. Essentially, we're going to go over the steps from start of joining the Illuminati / the Reptilians to the end of leaving or essentially getting killed off of the Illuminati. So we're going to go through all of that. And before we get there, I want to talk about Matthew Perry. And, he's just such a lovable guy, like just such a wholesome, like, I don't know. So that's the other thing too, is it's a tough topic to talk about because we are talking about someone's death. And I definitely don't think it was natural. So before we get into all of that information, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share this video to friends, family members who you think would be interested in hearing the facts and interested in how the Illuminati works. And then, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're new here, welcome. If you enjoy all things quantum physics, aliens, extra dimensional, and conspiracy, but also fifth dimension and high vibes, you've come to the right place. My mission always is, when I do dabble in the dark side of things, when I do dabble in the third dimension, let's say, I really like to bring light to the darkness. That's really my goal. My goal is not doom and gloom. It's definitely not fear. It's really to empower you to have the information in order to just be more awakened, and then use that information to empower yourself to navigate or better navigate this reality, is really what it comes down to. So I do present dark things on this channel, but I try and present them in a very neutral and lighthearted way. So here goes. All right. Also, I just wanted to also mention, there's already been some weird text stuff happening with this video. If for whatever reason this video is taken down from YouTube, check it out on my website. So I do have a website. I post all of my videos from YouTube and so many other videos that I do every single month on my website. I only do one video every single week on YouTube, and I do so many more videos things that I can't talk about on YouTube on my website. You will be able to access this for free as a seeker, and it's also ad and of course censorship free as well on the website, but you will have to make a seeker account, a free account, and we're never going to ask you to pay for anything as a seeker. Of course, if you want access to more stuff, you can have that too. Okay, so here are the facts about Matthew Perry's death. And I'm just going to lay them out objectively, and then I obviously have my own opinion, but you can make your own opinion from here too. So here are the facts. He was not posting very often on Instagram, okay? He was not posting really maybe a couple times a year on Instagram, right? Not very active at all. Within the last 2 months before his passing, he posted 3 different posts that were all 2 days apart about the bat signal. Okay, like Batman and like the bat signal, right? And you like shine it into the sky. And of course, what is the bat signal? The bat signal is a cry for help, right? A calling for Batman to come save, whoever's in need. Okay, so once again, really not a big poster on Instagram. In the last 2 months, he posted 3 posts on Instagram that were the bat signal, 2 days apart. And they were all different posts. Okay, it gets so much weirder. Then he posts I want to say a couple of days before his passing, he posts a picture of 3 cranberries. Sounds weird, right? Just a random posting a picture of 3 cranberries. Well, the band, the Cranberries, right? Well, the lead singer of the Cranberries, the band, actually died by drowning. And it was pretty suspicious, but I don't know too much about it. That one could be a little far-fetched, but why would you post a picture of cranberries? Yeah, It gets so much weirder, you guys. It's just, the evidence is so clear. Okay, so Matthew Perry wrote a book. And in this book, there was a line that he mentioned where he said that if you ever see me posting a bat signal or logo, it means that I'm in trouble. He literally wrote this in his book. If you ever see me posting a bat signal or logo, it means that I'm in trouble. He never posted anything about Batman until 2 months before his passing. And he posted the bat signal 3 times. All right, it gets weirder. What was it? The week that he died, okay, the week that he passed, he posted a picture of a moon. Just a moon. He would never post moons before, but all of a sudden he's posting a picture of the moon. Interesting. The day that he died, there was a full moon. It wasn't just any full moon. It was the full blood moon that also happened to be a lunar eclipse at the same time, October 28th. A full blood moon that was also the day of a lunar eclipse. And he posted a picture of a moon. Exactly. Ritual. In his last post before he passed away, he posted a picture of just where he was, which was a jacuzzi looking over this beautiful skyline at night. He ended up drowning in that jacuzzi like the next day. His last photo was the place that he actually passed away. Okay. Now here's the weirdest part about all of this. Well, actually, I have one more thing I want to mention about before we get to the freaking weirdest part. It's like really gross, but apparently, this is hearsay, but I have heard this. Apparently, one of Matt's journals was found, and in one of these older journals, he said that he sold his soul to be famous. I don't have proof of this. There isn't evidence that I've seen, but it's an interesting fact. It's an interesting hearsay. Okay? Now, here's the weirdest and grossest part about all of it. And I'll give you my speculations. I don't know if you guys know, and I don't know really who this is. I believe it's a musician, and her name is Doja Cat. Doja Cat. Doja Cat. Anyway, I think she's a singer. Right after Matthew Perry died, Doja Cat, on her TikTok, deleted every single one of her videos and posted a video, very high production video, mind you, of the Friends introduction, okay, the Friends intro to the Friends TV show. And instead of saying Friends at the top, it said Demons. And Doja Cat was dressed in all black, laying on the Friends couch in front of the fountain, with the word Demons written in the Friends writing. And what's really interesting is so there was a dot in between each letter, but after the D in Demons, the dot was missing. And the speculation is that that is for was it after the D that was missing? It's Chandler. Okay, the dot was missing somewhere, and it basically was supposed to lead back to Matt Perry, but I'm not sure actually which letter that was. I should have wrote that fact down. Anyway, very interesting speculation here. So what does Doja Cat have to do with all of this? I'm going to tell you what I think happened, and then we're going to talk about Illuminati rituals and essentially how someone joins the Illuminati, the process of being in the Illuminati, and then how you leave, which you kind of don't. So we're going to talk about it. So I'll just give you my speculation on what happened with Matthew Perry first. Without a doubt, this was a ritual from the Illuminati, the powers that were, the shadow government, the reptilian shapeshifters, whatever you want to call them, okay? They do exist. They are out there. And I think in a sense, the Illuminati would be like a faction of the shadow government, like almost like a separate group, but still a part of all of it. And from what I have observed throughout many, many years of observing celebrities and MK Ultra programming and the cloning program and all of that, especially the royal family, the Illuminati obviously targets and wants to go after people with influence. And this is why I was so confused as to why they would target Matthew Perry. He wasn't speaking out against it, and he wasn't also like really in fame anymore. Now, what I've channeled about this, what I've tapped into, is that in the last 2 months of Matthew Perry's life, he got called into a meeting, okay? I don't know if you want to call it like a top secret meeting, but a meeting with the Illuminati, with these members. And they didn't tell him really anything other than, hey, we just wanted to check in on you and potentially, see where you're at and how you're doing. There was something that took place within the last 2 months of his life that triggered him to know, they're watching me, they're after me, and I'm in need of help. And here's the place that I picked up on that he was right at the end. And I believe that this is the place that a lot of Illuminati members are at in this predicament. They have a sense that, something's about to happen. And part of them is, do I publicly make a statement? Do I post something that's a little bit more obvious than, say, just a bat signal, right? Do I say something? Do I go on a video? Do I tell people this? And the fear there for him and everyone else in this same predicament, the fear of speaking out is, they will kill me. They will kill me off. If I say something, they will kill me off. Of course, he didn't know that he was already going to be killed off. He didn't know. And maybe if he did know, he would be a little bit more brazen about speaking the truth. But instead, he put out this subconscious message like, hey, I'm really in need of help, and I'm putting out this bat signal, and I hope that you're paying attention. And luckily, people were enough to be like, this is weird. Enough to really realize what was going on, which I think is really, it says a lot for the awakening and for where humanity's at, or at least this group of humanity. Okay, so that's the predicament I think he was in at the end, is if I do say something, they will kill me off. If I don't say something, then maybe I'm saved and protected, and maybe they're just re-sparking interest because they need me for something else. Typically, ritual victims are chosen because they're disruptors. So I'm not totally sure why Matthew was chosen. There's got to be a specific reason, because there are quite a few celebrities, musicians, old celebrities, brand new celebrities. There's quite a few individuals who are a part of this organization, and they chose him in particular. And it's not obvious to me. Typically, it's very obvious to me why they would choose that individual as a victim, and I just don't know why they chose him. Of course, we know that it was a ritual because it was done on a full blood moon lunar eclipse. I mean, you really can't get more powerful than that, and we've seen this time and time again individuals of high status passing away, dying in very interesting circumstances on lunar eclipses or eclipses and full moons. And he knew. There was definitely a sense in him that he knew he was in danger, but he didn't know the extent of it. Now, the other thing that the Illuminati will do quite often with their members, okay, is that if the member, especially if the member is a disruptor, the Illuminati, this organization, will give a threat to that member. And the threat is typically, if you do not stay quiet, if you do not shut up, basically, we will tarnish your reputation, or we will just kill you off. So a lot of the times, these rituals will be overdose. Like their number one go-to is overdose. Their number two go-to is suicide. Why? Because it's not a far reach, I think, for humanity to believe that someone who's been in the spotlight, who maybe doesn't have close friends or family members, who has a lot of money and fame, but really not a whole lot else, it's not a far stretch to think, oh, well, of course they would be into drugs, or, oh, of course they would suffer from mental health stuff. And so that's kind of their go-to. The other thing that I've seen the Illuminati do, more so for a threat and to tarnish reputation, is, and I want to be very careful with my words here, they will plant contentious material on their computers and devices. Hopefully you know where I'm getting at with that. And then it will completely, I mean, you can't really get more tarnished than that. And so I've seen them do that as well, as far as, hey, you know, you better back off what you're saying here. Now, I want to just mention something else about members of the Illuminati. So, how do I say this? Okay. If there is a member who is a very, very high status, and what I mean by that is that they're still very active and still very influential. If there is an Illuminati member that is still very influential in the media, but they start to lose it a little bit, mostly because of probably a lot of the MKUltra programming, and they start speaking the truth. There have been many musicians who have gotten up on stage at a live concert and literally rattled off the truth. This industry is full of demons and we have to sell our soul to get into it, and, you know, don't believe anything that you see, and those kind of things. Guess what happens every single time that happens? The world tour is shut down. They are put into rehab. Why? Because they had a mental break and they were on a bunch of drugs. As a matter of fact, they're actually speaking the truth for the first time, and they get put into rehab, which is more MKUltra programming, which is essentially just brainwashing, and they get put on a bunch of drugs. One of the telltale signs, I'll just kind of plant a seed for you. One of the telltale signs of someone who has just been freshly either MKUltra'd or indoctrinated into the program, or signed contracts to be a part of the Illuminati, one of the number one signs I've seen is bleach blonde hair. Two of the individuals that I can think of right off the top of my head, and yet this has happened many, many times, and also another part of it is shaving the head, shaving the hair completely, and some women have done this as well. Men, it's not as obvious when they do this. Bleach blonde hair. Kanye West, he was up on stage and he said, hey, this whole industry is full of, you know, whatever, right? He just went off. His whole world tour was shut down. He got put into rehab. When he came out of rehab, he was totally drugged up, slurring his words. The press was all over Kanye. And guess what? He had bleach blonde hair coming out of rehab. Pretty good sign. Kind of connected to Kanye in a weird way, Kim Kardashian, and then her new boyfriend, who's no longer a boyfriend, and I honestly can't keep up, and I just don't have the time and energy. That guy from SNL, I forget what his name is, skinny guy. Yeah, Pete Davidson, yeah, exactly. Right, so same thing. Guess what happened the second Pete Davidson got into a relationship with Kim Kardashian? Shaved head, bleach blonde hair. I mean, come on, guys. It's just so obvious. But Maybe not to everyone. So it's fine. I mean, that could all be a coincidence. It's just like speculation, whatever, but that's what I have observed throughout many, many years of observation. Here's what they do to a very influential figure who is no longer abiding by their rules, right? They'll throw them into the programming again or rehab. They'll put them on a bunch of drugs and they'll just make them really docile, right? They'll do some brainwashing, make them docile. If they're still influential and the Illuminati feels like they can still utilize that character, then they will keep them around. But once again, they will make them really docile. They'll take them out of the limelight for a bit, okay? But they'll still have them there. If someone is going off the deep end, speaking the truth, and really just like, saying it like it is, and they're still influential, but they cannot be programmed anymore, what they will do is they will kill that person off in secret, of course, and they will either have a stand-in, a doppelganger, or they will bring in a clone of that individual altogether. The absolute textbook case, and this is going to be triggering to some, but I've observed it, the textbook case of cloning and Illuminati manipulation, unfortunately, is Michael Jackson. What did they do to poor Michael Jackson? What an absolutely bright light in this world. I believe that his father had something to do with getting him into the Illuminati, selling his soul. And we're going to talk about selling your soul and what that means and like how you do that, which obviously don't ever do. Yeah. But Michael Jackson didn't want to play by the rules. He wanted to help the world. He wanted to enlighten the world. And Michael Jackson started speaking up about the industry, and they did not like that, and yet he was very powerful. And so what they ended up doing way back in the day, back in the day, was they ended up, I believe, either killing him off completely or imprisoning him, putting him somewhere, and they created a clone of Michael Jackson. And as a matter of fact, they had many renditions of clones of Michael Jackson. And as the clones started to basically fail and falter, because this was their first public cloning experiment. Michael Jackson was like the first public cloning experiment. They were doing lots of cloning behind the scenes, but this is the first time they're like, you know what? He's a loose cannon. He's no longer playing by our rules, so we've got to swap him out completely, but he's still so influential. And then they started to absolutely deteriorate his credentials, his authenticity. They wanted to taint him for life, taint his music, his vibrations, his messaging, everything. And they did a very damn good job of that. And eventually the clones, after you get to a certain rendition, like Gen 5 of these clones, nowadays the technology is way more advanced, but back then, the genetic, like when you regenerate the same genetics over and over and over again, the genetics start to, like I'm not a scientist, but the life of the cell starts to deteriorate 10 times faster, 20 times faster, 30 times faster than what's normal. And so they just couldn't keep up with the clones anymore. And of course, things like vitiligo and nose jobs and other things were all to blame for this strange appearance of a man. And that's just not the case. It's just simply not, it was a big cover up basically. So, and it was so sad because I think he really truly was such a bright light. So let's talk Illuminati rituals. Let's just talk about it. I've got like all these stages and steps here. So first of all, how do you even like get involved in the Illuminati? There are two ways. One is you seek them out. Now, typically when you're seeking the Illuminati out, you don't even know that the Illuminati exists. You don't know that there's an organization. You don't know what you're seeking. However, what you are seeking is fame, riches, whatever. And maybe you have a talent. Maybe you are a good singer. Maybe you're really beautiful. Maybe you're charismatic. Maybe you're a great actress. The most ideal candidate, but really the most ideal victim for the Illuminati are children, which is so fucked up. And I think what's even more fucked up is like the parents of the kids, because your child would not be an actor or a model or any of that if the parents were not putting them into those very, very uncomfortable predicaments. A child should be a child. It's just my opinion, but whatever. I blame the parents for that. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, so guess what the number one biggest feeder was and still is for children of the Illuminati? The Disney Channel. Of course. Of course. A lot of, I think, Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, I mean, a lot of very wholesome, talented, beautiful individuals were put into Disney. And that is like, woof, you've made it big. For those stage parents, you know, you've made it big. If you're into Disney at a young age, good money for them. And unfortunately, it's the promise of riches, it's the promise of fame that will get these individuals in. The reason why the Illuminati look for children is because why? They're so much easier to manipulate. They're so much more malleable. And unfortunately, one of the biggest MK Ultra victims that I've witnessed that they have not cloned and that they have not, killed off yet is Britney Spears. She is a broken individual. And if you've ever seen her Instagram, I actually don't recommend it. It just makes me nauseous. It makes me absolutely sick to my stomach to see just how broken she is. And she was a textbook example of heavy, heavy, heavy MK Ultra programming, probably a lot of drugs at a very young age to mold her into what she became, and now this is the result of that. They don't need to kill her off, and they don't need to clone her, because she's so broken, which is so sad. Okay, so once again, either you seek out the Illuminati, which you're not really seeking out the Illuminati, you're seeking out riches and fame. Now, if you're a little bit older, typically like in your early 20s, okay, it's like a desperation. Maybe you've been homeless. Maybe you do have a talent and you're so desperate to make it big and you believe that that's happiness. And so you will essentially, you'll do anything for fame. And that energy, that frequency will draw in the Illuminati, this organization. The second way you can connect with the Illuminati or become a part of that is they ask you to join. So sometimes you are actually later in your career. Maybe you're 45 or 55 and for the first time you've made it big and like all of a sudden overnight you have a best-selling book or maybe a TV show or maybe you're Oprah. And you know, I don't believe Oprah was really indoctrinated or MK Ultra at a young age. I believe it was when she actually stepped into fame. And I know, like, my mom loves Oprah, and so she might be devastated about this video. But you could be older, and if you gain a certain access to a community, an influence, they can contact you and say, hey, do you want to get to the next level of fame and riches? And a lot of people say yes. Think about the amount of, it's so sad. Think about the amount of desperate actors, musicians, and it's not just them. It's news reporters, it's television writers. Like, it's not just forward-facing people. And this is where I think, like, yeah, there's like many different factions of, say, the shadow government or the powers that were. So that's kind of how you get pulled into it. Fame, riches. We've heard of many musicians talking about selling their soul for where they're at. I just want to mention too, and I know this is going to be a longer video, but it's a lot to get through and it's important. Another part of being in the Illuminati is this constant need to mention or subconsciously pull out these symbolisms. It's all about symbolisms. And there's a couple different reasons why. One, it's almost like if you're in the club, you're proud of being in the club and you want everyone else to know that you're a part of the club, but also it's free branding for the Illuminati. It's almost like the members of the Illuminati are prompted to talk about the Illuminati in very specific ways, or at least like put out the symbolism in very specific ways. And they're prompted to do that to make it like the cool club, so that everyone else who's a part of it is like, yeah, like, look at that really famous person. Like, if they're a part of it and I'm a part of it, then like we're all in this like super cool elite club, and like no one really wants to talk about it exclusively, but you're supposed to be talking about it. The amount of Illuminati symbolism in music videos is absolutely disgusting. Black and white floor tiles, anything that is related to blood. A lot of the time there will be like the pentagram symbol. There will be horns. Not bassinet. I forget what there's a deity that they honor. There's just it's so ripe with symbolism. It's insane that a lot of people just don't, and especially these younger kids, like, man, like they're into people like Doja Cat, and it's like, this is the most Illuminati puppet, I've ever seen. Like, come on, guys, right? Okay. There's another video that I want to make, and I'm going to plant a seed, and I'm not clear about it yet, but I'm just going to plant a seed with you. Taylor Swift. I have a feeling, and it's actually in my video list that I want to do, but this one had to come up first. I have a feeling she may be a double agent. So I also want to do a whole video on the fact that there are double agents who really have joined the Illuminati, but they're also of the light. And potentially, Taylor Swift is part of that. She's definitely a part of the Illuminati. That's a no-brainer. Is there something there that maybe she can turn around? Possibly. We'll have to see. But is the Illuminati on her? Absolutely. Because she has, it's crazy the amount of influence she has. Can she misstep? Can she speak out? Can she talk about the truth? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And she knows that. So I want to just also talk about, the fact that there are double agents and they have joined, but there's also a mission that they have to transmute, because we are at a time of transitioning. We are at a time of awakening and ascension. And I it's not that I have to believe that there are double agents. I know for a fact there are double agents. I am so happy personally. I get to do my thing on like my own website and YouTube, and like I never had to really be a part of the dark side. Like, I'm so happy that I'm just not a double agent. Like, I just, like, that's a shitty position to be in, like one of those like spies, right? Like on both sides. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on with these rituals. Okay. So, after an individual is either contacted by the Illuminati or like desperate and they pull that energy in, there are contracts that are signed. This is the absolute most important part of the Illuminati, period, hands down. There are contracts that individuals have to sign in order to be a part of it. Okay? I personally imagine some sort of like huge scroll type of, handwritten contract. I'm sure it's not like that anymore, but there's a contract involved, and it is a blood contract. It is not just a contract you sign, it is basically like a blood oath. So everyone who's a part of the Illuminati, they're fully well aware, and they know that they have just, basically sold their soul for riches and fame. They know that. There's no hidden stuff in, like, say, a contract that you sign with a record label. It is very quite obvious, okay? So you have to sign a contract. The reason why a contract is so important is because in order to join the dark side, let's call it, you have to join with your free will. You cannot. So this is actually what I really love about this fact. It's the law of non-intervention, which plays a part in every single life in the entire universe. The Illuminati cannot bring someone in that does not want to be a part of it. They have to be willing to be a part of it. Think about it, though. These people are down and out. They're desperate. They're homeless. They're desperate for fame, riches, whatever, right? All the things that we're indoctrinated to believe are going to make us happy. And so in order for the Illuminati to get around the law of non-intervention, they have to have a willing participant. And of course, if, little 12-year-old Justin Bieber isn't a willing participant, don't worry about it. We'll just get another 12-year-old desperate individual, right? Or whatever. A lot of the time before signing the contracts, they will bring the person in, they will give them a hit song, or maybe they'll give them some money to record something. They'll rope them in and say, if you want more of this, sign this contract. They won't just say, boom, sign the contract, or else we would have a ton of whistleblowers. It's almost like they have to get tested, and they've got to get baited, and they have to really see if, like, is this person manipulated? Is this person able to be manipulated? Oh my God. Are they desperate enough? And are they willing enough to do anything for more riches and more fame? So now, after the blood contract is signed, so essentially like, so physical signature, and then you actually, like, it's not like some sort of crazy blood spilling. You pretty much prick your finger, put it on the contract, and you're signing your blood away. Now, I want to make a side note here. Everyone says, I sold my soul to the devil, right? Or whatever, right? In a lot of songs, and even folk songs way back in the day, we hear of this. The fact is, it's not actually selling your soul, it's selling your body. Maybe it just doesn't sound as cool. You can never sell your soul, okay? You can never, ever, it's just not for sale. Like, there's nothing, but what you're doing is you are selling your body to be used as a puppet. And when you do that, when you sign that contract, and it depends, because there's a lot of individuals who have signed these blood contracts who we've never heard of before ever. And they've just never gone anywhere. Maybe they weren't the right fit. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know why they don't go anywhere, but there are a lot of individuals who just don't do anything with it. Then there are those, those diamonds in a rough, like, say, Justin Bieber, who, oh my goodness, this kid is gaining access to a lot of influence, and now we want to start to move into his body, right? So this is where essentially there will be different rituals performed as a part of this contract that they willingly signed, that and this is like a whole other video in itself, part of the rituals to share the body, to basically become this puppet, is they have to, and this is where the MK Ultra programming or the brainwashing come in, they have to get rid of your own consciousness. They have to suppress and dull down your soul, like your conscious mind. They have to kick that soul to the back. Now, there's people every single day who choose willingly, no riches, no fame, no Illuminati contract, to kick their soul to the back. Drugs, alcohol will 100% kick your soul to the back. So what? You're just a zombie. And unfortunately, things like consuming mass media and like distraction will also just dull us out, right? Like, I mean, that's what they want for everyone, even without a riches and fame contract. Oh my goodness, there's just like so much information. Didn't even realize. Okay. They want to dull the soul so that a reptilian soul can come into the body. Once again, that person signed up for this. And that's when a lot of the shape-shifting will happen. And whatnot, and there's like it's like a whole thing. Watch my other reptilian videos. I have even more reptilian videos and Illuminati videos on my website rather than YouTube. Okay, so then after you sign the blood contract, there is a sacrifice. There is usually always a sacrifice involved in joining the Illuminati. Okay. So as much as we would like to think that, you know, and back in the day, I absolutely have seen lifetimes where the sacrifice is a young child. Anyway. And there's like an innocence about that, and it's like a whole thing. But these days, a lot of the time, the sacrifice as a part of joining the Illuminati in the contracts is like usually like an animal. I mean, it's no better, right? In a sense, I mean, you're killing something, something very innocent. But there's this act of like spilling blood, and so what happens is when you sign over that contract, and then you also commit this sacrifice, which is usually like in a group or a crowd. It's a ritual. In order to join, it will be filmed, right? And the craziest thing is that this stuff has been filmed for many, 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 many years. Why would they want the evidence? Why do they want this stuff to be filmed? Blackmail, of course. This shit is kept in massive vaults. Can you imagine if I'm just going to plant a seed. If one day we had a double agent who is in charge of guarding the evidence to one day take it out and release it. I once, a long time ago, saw a video of Angelina Jolie, which crushed me because I really loved her. I think I loved a couple of the movies that she was in. Tomb Raider, that was like my go-to as a kid. Anyway, there was a video of her literally talking about the sacrifices, talking about it being filmed. I mean, it was pretty crazy. And this was like a secret video that was filmed of her talking about this stuff. So the reason why they filmed these people joining the Illuminati in the sacrifices is, hey, if you fuck up, if you say anything, if you do not abide by what we want you to do, we're going to release this. Would they ever? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But what they can do and what they have done, death by suicide, wink, wink. Overdose, death by overdose, wink, wink. Putting explicit content on their computer, destroying their reputation. They've done that many, many times before. And so the Illuminati would never release those videos because it's so obvious that it's an Illuminati ritual, but there are many other ways that they can threaten these people. Okay, so yes, so once you're a part of it, the reptilians get revealed, right? So I'm not sure. Sometimes I believe the reptilian stuff gets revealed to them almost right away with the contracts. But I do believe that sometimes it takes some time for them to reveal themselves as reptilians. And we've seen that in the royal family, like Princess Diana, right? She's like, okay, yeah, I'll join your group. I think it was very innocent when she joined the royal family. And then when she found out that they were a bunch of baby-killing reptilians, she wanted to speak out or run away or whatever. Okay, so then selling your soul equals reptilian possession. And then, so once things settle down and they think that they're free, they're not. They're not. So, what did I put here? Disobedient equals still valuable equals clones, right? Exactly. So I already talked about Kanye and MJ. Yeah, so if you're disobedient, you get killed off. If you're disobedient but you're still valuable and influential, you'll get killed off and replaced by a clone, or you'll be put through MK Ultra programming and you'll be rehabilitated back into the Illuminati agenda. Okay, and I think once again, just circling back around to Matthew Perry, it's just, I mean, it's Chandler. Like, he's just such an innocent, I know that was just a character on a TV show, but such an innocent, in so many ways, I feel like, never really kind of shook things up. I just feel like it's just wrong. The other sad thing about his passing as well is that things had settled down. Like, he wasn't a huge influence. He wasn't speaking out, and he probably thought that those days, that ritual stuff that he did when he was in his early 20s, that's behind him. And now at whatever, 50 something, which is a very young age to pass, he got taken out. And I believe, I'll just pull it full circle here. If you're just tuning in, you have to watch the beginning of this video because I kind of blew the lid off of this. It's going to sound crazy, but whatever. I believe that Doja Cat, okay, was the one to commit the ritual sacrifice against Matthew Perry. And part of me was like, because of this Friends video, this demonic Friends video that she did right after his passing, which is like, the other thing is like, that video there was money put into that. So the amount of people that had to be involved in even just putting that video together and planning to record that video so that after he passed, she released the video. I don't know, man. It's just so fucked up. Anyway, so in my mind, I'm like, this singer or pop star or whoever she is, has so many followers already. So it's not that him passing away was a part of her indoctrination into the Illuminati. I believe that she wants more. She either wants more status, she either wants more fame, or she actually just wants more control in the back end of the Illuminati. And as a show of faith, she said, I will commit the ritual. I will commit the sacrifice, and then I'm going to tell the world about it without actually saying anything. This is what they do. It is truth hidden in plain sight every single time. And I hope that you walk away from this video feeling a little bit more awakened to what the actual fuck is happening out in the world. I don't want you to be fearful because this stuff has been happening really honestly since the dawning of humanity. TV and music has not changed the fact that there are influential puppets out there who have all been indoctrinated into this organization. Remember, this organization is dying. They no longer have the power. There are individuals like myself who can make a website that is untouchable, even though they try and touch it all the time, untouchable by them. And I can reach people without having to sell my soul, right? Or my body. How incredible is that? There is no such thing as a celebrity or a pop star anymore. Because anyone can have that influence. And I'm hoping that the people who actually have influence these days are doing it for good, for unity, for consciousness, for equality, right? So this is where we're at. They are desperate. They do not have the resources. They are falling, and they are falling hard. They no longer have the people, the influence, the resources. And they are trying everything in their power to gain that influence back. but they will never be able to do so. Because once we awaken to the truth, there is no going back into the shadows, period. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, like the video, check me out on Instagram if you haven't already. It's elizabeth.april. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for being here. And if for whatever reason this video is taken down, please watch the replay completely censorship and ad-free on my website. Just sign up for free as a seeker and you get to watch the whole thing and so many other videos that I am really not allowed and have been taken down from YouTube. Thank you all so much, and knowledge is power, and the truth is always hidden in plain sight. Until next time, I will see all of you in the new Earth frequency.